This is Full Count, the show for baseball fans by baseball fans that takes the extra base and delivers a save each and every week. Presented by Dinger Bats and DingerBats.com. Now here are your hosts, the round mound of sound, Keith Gibson, and owner of Dinger Bats, Kyle Drone.
Play ball! Hello again, baseball fans, and welcome to Full Count. Keith Gibson alongside me, Kyle Drone, as we begin the second half of the Major League Baseball season and the second half of our season right here at DingerBats.com and on 103.5 ESPN Radio. Thank you for joining us here on this Saturday morning. I hope you got your cup of coffee. We've got a lot to talk about again this week. We'll recap the All-Star festivities, talk about some rule changes, and get into what to look for in the second half of the season. Kyle Drone, I know you were excited about the Home Run Derby and everything, but first off, have you had another good week?
Oh, yeah, it's been another busy, crazy, good week there at Dinger Bats, and I don't see it ending anytime soon, so I'm good. I'm grateful for that.
Awesome. That's what we like to hear. Keeping them busy at Dinger Bats. So other than that, everything else good? Fam good? Kiddos good? Everybody's good?
Oh, yeah. Everything's great, man.
That's what we like to
How
hear.
about yourself?
Oh, you know how it is when you got a 4-month-old and a 5-year-old. It never stops going 24/7. Oh, but it was fun.
Right.
I got to watch the Home Run Derby this weekend. My daughter came out and watched a little bit of that with me and watched it out in the clubhouse lounge and watched the All-Star game with me. So that was pretty special for me. She was really into it and asking
Nice.
101 million questions, but I was happy to answer them.
Right. Hey, that's how they learn.
That's right. That's right. And she's got her first ball glove and her bat, and she's ready to go. She's probably going to be a better hitter than her old
There you
man.
go.
It was pretty good.
Wouldn't take much.
That's right. You're exactly right. All right, let's get her started. Let's go around the horn and talk about the 2021 Major League Baseball All-Star Home Run Derby. And, boy, not patting myself on the back, but I'm going to pat myself on the back. I told you he'd win.
Yeah.
Told you.
No, you even got you had the last matchup and everything. You didn't miss but what, one pick?
One. I only missed
or
one.
Did you miss any?
I missed one. Gallo. I took Gallo instead of Story, but other than that, no, I was right on the money.
Yeah, you were dead on. I was the whole time I was watching it. I was like, I can't wait till the next show.
I won't rub it in too much, but hey, great event again. I love, as you always talked, the new format, the time. Boy, it does just make it more interesting. Pete Alonso back to back, of course, 19 and 21. There was nothing in 20, but back to back. And boy, you want to talk about a guy built for a home run derby. And one of the most calm guys I've ever seen in the Home Run Derby, Pete Alonso put on a show.
Oh, he did. He's amazing. And yeah, like you said, he's a workhorse. He's built perfectly for a Home Run Derby. Never seems to tire out and just can muscle balls out, even though Coors Field helps a little bit, but everybody had the same advantage. So, I mean, I have to applaud him.
35 in the first round, and I don't think he broke much of a sweat. I mean, he was smooth. It was just up there. He was just like he was lazily swinging the bat, and they were flying 475 and 500 feet. And it was impressive. Your boy Shohei put on a good show as well. Shohei Ohtani, and him and Soto in the first round.
He was a little slow to get started and just couldn't get that line drive swing out. He just couldn't lift the ball, but he found it late, just was a little too late.
I like the fact that, Juan Soto came out and changed his stance up a little bit. Soto's a guy who crouches down and that he was more straight up, which I liked, and not trying to necessarily pull the ball. So Ohtani, to me, and they mentioned it during the Home Run Derby, was trying to pull a lot of things. And so he was hitting those line drives. Right. But, we found a groove there late and was able to go into a swing off with Soto, who Soto eventually won. But
well, they say that Ohtani never takes batting practice.
I heard that.
That's
on the
kind
field.
of unusual.
Never takes it on the field.
Right, yeah. So, he works his cage work and things like that, but doesn't participate in on-field batting practice, which is very odd for players in any years that I've known. But So going out there and doing that is got to be a different comfort zone for him, I guess.
Right. Yeah. When I was shocked as well, I'm like, who doesn't go in the field to take BP? I mean, who doesn't try to
Right. No, it's
jack it
kind of
over the fence? I mean, but maybe that's why he's so good is he doesn't get that swing where he's trying to hit everything, over the fence. He just keeps his swing in the cage how he should, and maybe that's an advantage that maybe other guys should think about too.
right. Yeah, no, it definitely showed because he wasn't, the first 15, he just hit line drives to right field. But he figured it out, and like I said, it was just a little too late. And then Soto went 3 for 3 in the swing off, and I mean that's a lot of pressure.
Soto found his groove there early, yep, and then so Soto and Alonso advanced, and your boy, you said Trevor Story would win in the first round, which he did. Hometown guy. He looked good in the first round as well. Gallo, probably my biggest disappointment. I really expected a lot of things out of Gallo, some big monster shots, and he just could not find the groove at all in that first round in the home run derby. And then finally, you had Trey Mancini.
Yeah, it seemed like he kind of was fighting himself.
Yeah, he was. It was like he couldn't. Almost trying to lift the ball too much. Does that make sense? Trying too hard.
Yeah.
If I did that, I wouldn't get out of the infield. And then finally, we had Trey Mancini in the last round, and he was matched up against Matt Olson, who Olson impressed me on some shots that he had. Some that he pulled to the upper deck, but Mancini put on a show, and good for him, man. The guy had cancer a year ago, wasn't sure if he'd ever even be able to play again, and here he is, standing in the box of the home run derby, putting up, I think it was 24 in the first round, and advancing, and got a big O from a lot of the crowd, and everybody was behind him. Just great, though. Great to see him perform like he did.
Yeah, no doubt. He started off slow. I was getting a little worried for him. Then he kind of got his composure back, and then he went off. He ran off, I think 8 or 9 right in a row, and it then you can see he was having fun, and that was a great sight to see, and to see him advance and get as far as he did in it.
One thing that I did notice from the entire night for the home run derby, a lot of smiles, a lot of fun. Everybody was having a good time. And that's what you love to see. That's the impression you want to give, especially younger kids watching maybe for the first time or for the second time, is you're smiling, you're having fun. That's what it's all about. Second round, you had Soto and Alonso, and another great matchup. But Alonso, boy, he never stopped all night. I think Soto put up 16.
He was driven.
He was.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that, did you see the stat where he's made more money by winning the 2 home run derbies, $2 million, than he's been paid playing in Major League Baseball?
Yeah, I have. I did see that.
He's doubled it. That's kind of amazing.
Did you see he also donated $50,000 to 4 different charities from his winnings this year?
Yeah, I did. That's great. I mean, he's
pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Does a lot for the community, and wish him continued success.
Well, his contract, I believe, is up next year, and he's gonna, if he stays healthy, he's not gonna have to worry about money. Let's just put it that way. He's gonna rake it in.
Right.
But so then Mancini takes out Story in the second round in the semis. Comes down to Mancini and Alonso, and during the home run derby on ESPN, Alonso said he likes to go first. He likes to set the bar. Well, Mancini came out, and I thought, well, Trey looked pretty tired kind of at the end of the second round. I didn't think he'd put up very many in the third. Boy, he did, though. He came out and found a groove, and he just started launching bombs.
Right. Yeah.
But when you're facing Pete Alonso, it really doesn't matter.
Apparently not, man. The guy, I mean, like you said, he's built for it.
What was one of your favorite moments of the entire home run derby?
I think I saw a post where a fan held up a ball that I didn't realize that all the balls that each player hit, they signed. And
I posted that on our Facebook group.
Yeah. I thought that was a cool added bonus. But yeah, the most exciting thing was probably, that first round for Mancini, just because I was rooting for him so hard. And, he had the slow start, but then he found it, and then he just really, took off with it.
One
So,
of my favorite moments probably came to the swing off, because after Soto hit the 3 for 3 in the swing off, I thought, okay, either Shohei's going to go 3 for 3 and we're going to do this again,
right?
And I was excited for that, and then it kind of was a kind of a letdown,
right?
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, all right, let him rest. He had a lot more things to accomplish during the All-Star festivities, and the fans were happy, and so everybody was happy. But that's one of my favorite. It was kind of those anxious moments. All right, what else can the guy do? How many?
Right.
Now he was during that first round. He got exhausted. He was tired.
Yeah, he did. Like I said, he's not used to it.
Yeah, the fatigue factor definitely took a toll on him. Do you think maybe Mile High being in Denver too? Maybe, a place he doesn't play often.
I mean, it might have had a little effect, but these guys are in top physical shape, so I can't imagine it's that much of a, situation, and everybody was dealing with the same thing. So it could have. I think it's more your approach and the effort you exert into every swing early on. Where you said Alonso seemed like he was just smooth and got into a groove. He's been there before and done it, and not to mention his strength and just the fact that he's built for that. But yeah, I think that's what I saw with Gallo. Gallo was just coming out too hard, and instead of just easing into it, and then when he didn't find it, he started pressing, and he just never could get there. But yeah, I don't think that the being a Mile High affected it as much as the effort they took. Swinging the bat early on. You got to kind of pace yourself and get into that groove and then go.
The guy I feel the worst for, Salvador Perez. Salvo, we talked about last week. Talk about not getting the luck of the draw. Well, not even the luck, maybe the unluck of the draw. Having Alonso in the first round. Salvi put up 28, and most times that advanced, but he couldn't advance because Alonso put up 35. So
it's tough, especially to follow that up, and hit 35 when everybody else is hitting 22, 24, and he even topped that and can't advance. But it's just luck of the draw.
But he interviewed later on, and he said, I just had fun. He goes, when he put up 35, I think Eduardo Perez from ESPN asked him, he said, what'd you think? He goes, I was just going out swinging, So, hey, good for Salvi. It was nice to see him put up some numbers and have fun at the All-Star game as well. Hey, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back, and we'll recap the All-Star game itself. Some highlights from it, some things we saw, and maybe some things we heard right here on Full Count. You're listening to us at DingerBats.com and on 103.5 ESPN Radio.
Kester Homes is your full-service real estate team. They work all of Champaign County and a full 60-mile radius around. What really sets Kyle, Tiffany, and their team apart is they work with home buyers, home sellers, and build new construction homes. So they really are seeing all angles of the real estate industry, from existing homes, investment properties, and new construction. Contact Kester Homes at 217-390-5953 or visit online at KesterHomes.com. That's KOESTER Homes.com. Kester Homes is a licensed real estate broker with the Keller Williams, the Real Estate Center of Illinois.
Welcome back into Full Count as we begin our recap of the 2021 MLB All-Star Game, and a couple days of festivities. It's been a few days without any ball games. They started back up on Thursday night with the Red Sox and Yankees, and they'll continue. And both of our teams, the Cardinals and Cubs, better hope they get things together here early in the second half. Otherwise, we're going to be having a long rest of the summer. But, Kyle, let's talk about the All-Star Game. Shohei Ohtani, who we've talked about a lot, but who can't right now? The guy's starting pitcher comes out in the first inning, first at bat, DHs, gets an at bat, of course grounds out, doesn't get a hit, but standing ovation for him. How cool was it to you to see a guy come up to the plate in the first and pitch the first inning and not just an All-Star game, but I mean that's history we witnessed on Tuesday night.
Yeah, no, I mean it was tremendous. That was what I wanted to see. I mean, that was the most exciting thing. You know, the game itself ended up being exciting as it always is, but that was the main thing. I wanted to see that first inning.
Me too. I made sure I had my popcorn ready and was sitting down and ready. My favorite thing about the All-Star game always is player introductions. I always make sure I get to watch that because I love wherever they're at, especially if they're on the West Coast. The Dodger players always get booed, and they did.
Right.
And I love it because the Giant players didn't get booed, the Diamondback players
Right.
didn't get booed, the Padres players didn't even get booed. It was just the Dodgers.
Right.
And so on the West Coast they got a little not love for the Dodgers out there, but I enjoy that. But yeah, Shohei, it was great to see. I mean, he had touched 100 on the mound.
Right.
Had 1, 2, 3 inning in the first. What's your thoughts on the guys being mic'd up? I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I've always liked that. Even in during the season, they do it from time to time. I love to hear the chatter, what they're talking about. And most of the time they're just out there, having fun, and that's I think what the kids need to see. And it's to me it's always fun. And then especially when you get into an all-star situation where it's more of a exhibition style game and the guys are on cloud nine because they're all-stars and they get to play against players they don't usually get to play with and meet a bunch of new guys, and it's got to be one of the coolest experience for a ball player.
Freddie Freeman Frederick was mic'd up early in the ball game, and I think gave everybody a laugh. His son got to meet Fernando Tatis Jr., which made his day. His son told him earlier in the year he was only hitting 220. That Dad, you got to hit better so we can go to the All-Star game. I mean, he did, and he did. Look what happened. And so his son got to meet him. That was pretty cool. But I always enjoy Freddie Freeman. Freddie's pretty. He said something that kind of touched me. He goes, "Man, it's not for me anymore. It's for my kids. That's why I work hard to get him here so he can enjoy these experiences. I've done it, now a couple times, and so to me that means a lot more. As a father, hearing someone say that than anything. And so I enjoyed that. And I didn't realize how tall Aaron Judge was until he stood next to Freddie Freeman.
Oh yeah, he's a giant, man.
He is.
Yeah, the first time I ever met him, and to go with that, he's one of the nicest people you could ever meet. But to walk up to the man is just intimidating as all get out. I mean, he is that big. I mean, it's like Dave Winfield big. I mean, just monstrous.
Well, he made Freddie Freeman, who's 6'5", look short. That's hard to do.
Right.
But no, it was fun. I'm glad we got to see some other guys mic'd up too. Ozzie Albies was mic'd up with the Braves.
Yeah.
You had Chris Bryant mic'd up with the Cubs. I know you had to enjoy this a lot, seeing Nolan Arenado get the standing ovation, and much deserved from that Colorado crowd. And I thought that was a pretty special moment too. But one thing I noticed was in his first at bat of the All-Star game, and if you're a catcher, take notice of this. Salvador Perez took some extra time and walked out towards the mound to let him kind of soak that all in. I thought that was a great gesture by Salvi. He deserves that after all the years in Colorado, and the fans thanked him, and I thought that was a great moment as well.
Yeah, no, it was a great moment. And it was kind of like, I think Arenado, he kind of tipped his hat, and then he was going to get right in the box. But when then Salvi's like, hey, man, enjoy this a little bit, man. Go out there, take your time, wave to the fans. So, yeah, it was a class move by Salvi for sure.
Which you wouldn't expect anything less from a man, really. He's a pretty class act. Yep, me too. Yep. Vlad Guerrero put the American League on the board early with a shot that I'm not sure has landed yet. But that thing got out at I think 110 miles an hour.
Yep.
Is what I saw on StatCast, and a shot. I didn't realize, I know we've talked a lot about Shohei, but I didn't realize Vlad was hitting 332 in the first half. Maybe it's just because of his power overshadows everything. But, he's hitting 332, second in the league in homers and first in RBIs. He's got a shot at a Triple Crown.
Yeah, he's having a monster year. And, I mean, there's, he's got the pedigree, obviously. He's done the work to get in shape. And, his baseball IQ is just going to get better and better. So, I mean, I feel like he's going to be a a stud perennial all-star for the next at least 6-7 years, maybe even further, depending on how he takes care of himself.
I couldn't agree more with you on that. Just he's got a different plate approach than his father, though. Vlad
A
Senior,
little bit,
Vlad Senior didn't see a pitch he didn't like. Vlad Junior, a little
right?
bit more patient. He knows it works the zone a little better. But no, that was awesome to see too, and just the way he conducted himself the entire weekend, and seeing his glove, how he had his father, it meant a lot to him. And you listen to Tatis talk about him, how they worked out together, their dads worked out together, all those guys. That is a very tight knit group of
Right.
those guys, especially the second generation guys. And so guys like Bo Bichette, guys like Vlad Jr., Tatis Jr. Those guys have been around it, and I don't want to say have an advantage, but they do really, because they already know kind of what the business is like and how to conduct
Oh
themselves.
yeah, I mean it's for sure an advantage, because the biggest, one of the biggest things they say about being a big leaguer is not the talent, because the talent gets you there. It's learning how to be a big leaguer, how to go about your day, how to get your workouts in, how to be efficient, how to take care of yourself, where all that stuff's evolved over the last 25 years so much differently than what it was. And so yeah, there's a big advantage there, but they still have to have the talent.
Agreed, and they all have talent, all of
Oh,
them.
for sure, no doubt.
Any surprises during the game? Were you surprised that Milwaukee's pitcher was it Woodruff, or was it
Burns.
Burns? Yeah. Are you surprised he went as long as he did and threw that many pitches?
Yeah, I was kind of curious because he went 2, but I'm sure they had that all figured out because of who started last and when they might have been on pitch counts, this and that. Usually that doesn't happen till later in the game, but I guess if he was slated to go number 2, then that's just how it fell. But or maybe they even went as deep as looking at matchups. I'm not sure.
Well, and I wonder if he's not slated. They don't play again until Friday, so if they want to get him almost like a bullpen session in, 40, 50 pitches for that, and that's why he stayed out there. But I thought that was curious. That was one thing I was like, man, if I'm Milwaukee, I don't know if I want this guy out there that much, throwing this many pitches during the All-Star game. But if he's not working for another 5-6 days, it's almost like having a bullpen session anyway. But that was just a thought I noticed as well. Other than that, I didn't pick up a whole lot of other things. I thought it was a great played game. I thought everybody was having a good time. Everybody got in, which I'm happy to see.
Right.
Boy, one thing that I don't get to watch enough Oriole games, apparently. I knew Cedric Mullins was having a good year, but I did not know that guy was that fast either.
Yeah, he's good.
He's a fantastic outfielder, and I'm happy to see that he was there, and I was happy to see he was in the starting lineup because it was well-deserved.
Yeah, I agree.
Nationally had a couple chances to win the ball game, and Chris Bryant came up twice with a couple guys on and 2 outs, and didn't do either, but he said something very telling. He was mic'd up, and Joe Buck and John Smoltz, they asked him about being in a Cub uniform after the trade deadline. He said he's just going to play hard until he gets news that he's not, and He said he's proud to wear the Cubs on his chest, but played left field.
Yep.
So it was interesting, but I don't see him around past the trade deadline, unless they aren't able to get anything back for him. They're going to want the right deal for those guys, but we'll get into that later on in the show. But anyway, finally, before we wrap things up, what do you think of Liam Hendricks not knowing he was mic'd up and throwing out a couple expletives on there? I enjoyed it thoroughly because I thought it was funny. But for the younger audience, he apologized, of course. But
yeah, I think it was an honest mistake. He just that's probably how he is day to day, and forgot he was mic'd up, and it's too late.
Yep.
But what are you gonna do? I mean, there's worse things to do. At least he wasn't bad mouthing somebody else or talking about somebody or anything like that. It was just normal talk that he wasn't paying attention. That's all it is.
All right, I'm just gonna ask you because I'm gonna give you my opinion here. I wish they would let somebody else call the game. Joe Buck asks some silly questions to guys. Hey, can you hear me? I get it, and I love that they're talking to him. But at the same time, man, I just can't do Joe Buck. He can football. Let him do football, but bring somebody in like Matt Vasgersian or somebody like that, who really does the game of baseball well for the All-Star game. And I don't know. I love Joe. I know his father was great. Jack was fantastic, but he's not his father. Sorry if you're a Joe Buck fan. I am one who is not. Your thoughts?
No, I mean, I'm he's not my favorite, but he's just not a baseball announcer. And I think that, the fact that he does all different sports and he's on a major network for sports, not just baseball, I think it is better suited if you had just even the guys off MLB TV, the guys that know the game inside and out, the guys that have played the game, at various levels. I mean, but I mean, it is what it is. It didn't completely kill it, but I don't really pay attention to him much.
Me neither. But anyway, so all right, another fantastic All-Star break of a home run derby. And did you get to watch any of the celebrity softball game at all?
No, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, good. You didn't miss anything. I watched about an inning and a half, and I was like, I'm turning this off. I want to play in it because I'm pretty sure I could do as well as anybody else. The only thing I did see is Vinny Castilla, the former Rocky, played in it and hit one off the wall in left field.
Right.
Softball, which was pretty impressive. But other than that, Futures game was fun, too. There's a lot of young talent coming up, ladies and gentlemen. So even if your team's not having the season you want, it's okay because there's some good talent. MLB draft was held as well. We'll probably get a little bit more into that. Maybe next week we'll talk a little bit about that and break it down during the show. But we're going to take a quick break. We will come back and we will talk rule changes coming up and possibly in 2022. And Rob Manfred, I don't think he's everybody's favorite commissioner right now. And we'll get into that here in just a few minutes. You're listening to Full Count at DingerBats.com and on 103.5 ESPN Radio.
Today's episode of Full Count is brought to you by Ford of Tuscola.
Check out the all-new Ford of Tuscola. It's a small-town feel with great big deals. Pre-owned vehicles starting at $24.95. Online at FordofTuscola.com or call 217-253-3353.
Welcome back to Full Count. Keith Gibson, Kyle Drone with you here on this Saturday morning at DingerBats.com and at 103.5 ESPN Radio. Don't forget you can download any of our past shows or even this show at your favorite downloading app, Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Podbean, wherever you want to download it. But you can always get it at DingerBats.com as well. You can also get your gear there as well. And Kyle, Rob Manfred came out during the All-Star break and said there could be some possible rule changes coming up in 2022. And we've had some mixed reactions from some of our followers on our Facebook group. If you haven't joined our Facebook group yet, Full Count the Podcast, make sure you do that. Give interaction where we have polls. We've got different things we talk about, discuss baseball, and hear your opinions. So let's go over some of these rule changes he talked about, Kyle, and let's get your thoughts, and we'll go over some of our thoughts that our followers and listeners talked about too. So Rob Manfred said the possible rule changes are as follows: banning or limiting defensive shifts. Okay.
Yep.
Elimination of 7-inning doubleheaders. Elimination of starting extra innings with a man on second base. And possibly extend the DH to the National League. So those are the four he mentioned. Now, we've got some good feedback. A lot of guys were okay with shifts. A lot of guys were okay with the DH in both leagues. What's your thought on these four changes that could possibly be coming? Let's start with the shifts.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm okay with limiting the shift. Obviously it is a disadvantage to big league players, and they're not, willing to make the change or adjustment at the plate to take advantage of the open side. So if you want to boost offense, I can see limiting it somewhat, as long as maybe keeping both fielders at least second base cutoff, that be the cutoff. You can't go past second base either way, So I'm okay with that, just because I would like to see some of the offense boosted for some of these Deadpool guys.
I would like to see that too. I'm okay with not eliminating it completely, but as you said, tweaking it. I'd like to see everybody on the infield as well. You can adjust to one side or the other, and I'm with you. No farther past. So the second baseman can't go past second base. Shortstop, same way the other way. But stay on the infield. Some of these guys are 30, 40 feet out in left and right field. And, yeah, I mean, heck, if I'm out there, I could catch a ground ball that comes my way, you know. I'm not sure I'd have the arm to throw him out of first, but I can at least catch it.
Another possibility that I thought of was maybe keeping the limits until like the 7th inning, and then after that you can do whatever. Because let's face it, if you're 2 outs in the 9th with a 1-run lead and a guy on second base, and you've got a lefty that 95% of the time he's going to pull it, and that can be the difference of the game, then maybe they open it up and allow it, the last 3 innings of a game.
That'd be no different than bringing a 5-man infield in, right?
Yeah, or pulling the goalie or things like that. I mean, doing whatever you can at the end to seal that win, because then all the scouting you've done kind of goes out the window if you can't implement it.
Right. That's a great point. I wouldn't have any qualms against that. If it, from 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, if you want to do whatever needs to be done to win a ball game.
Right.
But the first few innings, especially first at bats, things, I don't want to see the shift in that major of a shift with 4 guys on the right side of the infield when Anthony Rizzo's at the plate.
Yeah.
It's the same way with a lot of different guys, not just Rizzo, but a lot of guys. Joey Gallo's another one who has a big shift on him because he's dead pull.
Yeah.
So let's move on here. So the shift, I think we're in agreement that stays but tweaked.
Mm-hmm.
Elimination of 7-inning doubleheaders. I'm in favor of saying get rid of it. Let's go back to 9 innings. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with that completely. Especially since they won't credit the no-hitter. So it's no, I mean if it's going to be an official game, great. If not, I am more of a fan of the 9 innings, but I think because of the union, wanting more days off for players, they added more double headers, and they're so much quicker to bang, weather delays now. I mean, there's so many times 30 minutes into a rain delay and they're like, oh, game's postponed, and they'll just pick it up on a double header somewhere. You're going to see less and less of that if you go back to the 9-inning games. So I would like to see the 9-inning games, but I don't want the season shorted. And I don't think there's enough days to extend it out anymore, because we're already playing the World Series in October now and November now.
Right.
Where it used to be October. So, there's not a lot of wiggle room there, but yeah, I do like the 9-inning game over the 7-inning game.
I agreed wholeheartedly on everything you just said, because I'm in agreement with you. I like the 9 innings. 7 innings to me is just I'm waiting for a conclusion. Like the game's not over in 7 innings. But so I hope they do. But you make a great point there, and yeah, there's not enough time to do doubleheaders and give guys days off. So maybe I like the fact that they expand the rosters now when there's a doubleheader, and you can bring an extra guy up. Maybe you bring up 2 or 3. To help with that and to give some extra guys days off and things like that, and help ease the rest that they need for that. And I'd be okay with expanding even 5 if you wanted to expand the rosters to 5 on days of doubleheaders to bring some guys up and allow some other guys to have the day off. So I think that's something that will definitely be looked into, as it is a CBA year. We all know that the contract will be up. So an elimination of starting extra innings with a man on second base. This has been one of the rules that either you love, because extra innings doesn't go an extra nine innings. You're not playing a doubleheader in one game, or you absolutely hate. Me, I'm in favor of it. I actually like this rule because I think it speeds up extra innings, and it makes you put the ball in play, and it makes you do maybe some little things. I have still yet to figure out, and we've talked about this on the show, you and I, on air and off. Why nobody has bunted to sacrifice a guy to third to start extra innings, I still don't get. You?
Right. No, I don't, and it's frustrating every time I watch it. I do. It does make me feel good when someone gets up there, hits it to the right side, moves him over, and that's great. But it just does not happen enough. I mean, to me, that run should score 90% of the time. I mean,
not
you're
higher.
second base. Yeah, probably higher, but at least 90% of the time. Yeah, I like the rule. I don't have a problem with it at all. I don't think that run goes against the pitcher, so that would be one thing. If that run counted against the pitcher, I'd be in less favor of it. But no, I like it. It does not bother me at all, that rule.
Why do you think that teams aren't playing more small ball when it comes to extra innings? Is it because we're all in all teams and staffs and everybody's in that mindset of let's hit the double in the gap or let's hit the extra base hit. Let's see what these guys can do instead of trying to produce runs? Or what do you think it is?
I mean, the game has just changed. I mean, it's.
Are we that old, Kyle Drone? Are we that old that we like the small ball?
Apparently, that is the game to me. That's the way the game was taught to me. That's the way I watched it all through the 80s, and early 90s, and that's the game I love. The strategy, the sacrificing. I mean, it's called a sacrifice. Sacrifice yourself to win the game. It's not be the hero every time. And I used to love those players that did the little things and still do. There's just so few of them in the game anymore.
Agreed. And finally, let's talk about the DH. Are you for or against the National League going to the DH?
Well, it won't hurt my feelings. I'm not 100% for it, but I'm not 100% against it. If the change happened, I'd be fine with it. It gives, that one extra player, on 15 teams to have a role in the big leagues that doesn't exist right now. So, and then it also helps, some of those players that, just don't have a position and, that automatically rules them out of coming to a National League team. So you miss out on potential players, coming to the National League, which is the league that I favor. That, being a Cardinals fan, that's what I grew up with.
You both of us. Not a Cardinal fan, but National
League. Right. But
let's make that clear.
Yeah, I've always been National. Right. I don't think the listeners are questioning that, but anyway, yeah, no, I'm kind of old school, would like to keep it the same way, but there's been so many changes that this one really wouldn't hurt my feelings.
I'm about 15% okay with it, and here's why. I think it takes away all the strategy of baseball. It takes away the double switch. It takes away matchups of who you got in the pen, who you got coming up. Even with the 3-batter rule, it still takes that away. The only reason I'm for it is I've seen too many pitchers get hurt swinging the bat here lately. Right. Running the bases and things like that. Things they normally aren't doing. Yes, does it bring more offense? Yeah, it does. And you're right. It lets guys have a position who may not have a position. A guy like maybe Nelson Cruz, who's playing for the Twins, instead of playing for the Twins, maybe he signs with a National League team because they got a DH. So think about Nelson Cruz in a Cubs or Cardinals uniform and putting that bat in those lineups,
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's a game changer.
Yeah.
But there wasn't even a
everybody
thought.
would like that. Everybody would like to have that extra bat in the lineup, and the way everything's evolving and rule changes are frequent now. So I like I said, I'm 50-50. If it happens, I'm not going to be upset, but if it doesn't happen, I won't be the guy saying, "Oh, we should have the DH in the National League." I've never said that.
A lot of guys are for the DH one. Arthur Vandelay, one of our listeners, said, for competitive balance issues, I think the DH should be in both leagues. And I see that point very clearly because he didn't want to see pitchers getting hurt. And a guy like Brian Turner, good old Wheeze down from Fairfield, Illinois there, one of our listeners, Brian, A good friend of mine. He used to play third base while I played shortstop, and it was like the refrigerator and the oven playing on that side of the infield. A lot of balls got between us. But he said he likes the DH in both leagues as well, and he's okay with the shifts. But we appreciate all of our guys who commented on that and interacted with us on our Facebook group. Make sure you join that. And we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and tell you what we see coming up in the second half of the Major League Baseball season. A lot to talk about still, but we'll be back after these messages here on Full Count.
Today's episode of Full Count is brought to you by Bees Trees.
Bees Trees, your local ISA certified arborist with over 10 years experience, specializing in tree removal, tree trimming, and with free estimates. Call Greg Miller of Bees Trees today at 217-260-4551.
Back here on Full Count, Keith Gibson, Kyle Drone, bringing you another episode here on Saturday morning. Thank you to 103.5 ESPN Radio and all of our listeners down there in Southern Illinois. We do appreciate you, and thank you for everybody who downloads and listens to the podcast at dingerbats.com. Don't forget you can join our Facebook group, Full Count the Podcast, right there, and interact with us, listen to the shows, and come upcoming events like October, July 16th. We're a little past that. By the way, happy birthday to my wife. My wife's birthday was yesterday, big 40, so happy birthday to her. Can't forget that and mention that on air. But October 16th at the Iron Horse Golf Club in Tuscola, Illinois, we will have Strikeout Hunger, a golf scramble. That will be a great day with a lot of great golf, and a lot of great sponsors will be there as well. We want to thank 217 Mortgage for being our presenting sponsor for that. We've got some sponsors lined up as well who will have on every hole, who will have swag at every hole. If you don't have a team yet, make sure you contact me, Keith Gibson, at fullcounthost@gmail.com to get a team. Or check out our Facebook group for more info. It's going to be a fun day, Kyle Drone, with a lot of good reasons, and all portion of the proceeds will go to the Eastern Illinois Food Bank and feeding our kids of Champaign County and Tuscola. So looking forward to that. But hey, let's talk second half of the baseball season. We are into it now. Started up back Thursday with Yankees, Red Sox, and boy, ESPN likes to pump the Red Sox-Yankees rivalry, don't they?
Oh yeah,
I think they
the
show about
biggest rivalry.
I think they show about 80% of those games they play. But anyway, second half of the season. Let's start in our favorite division, in the NL Central. I mean, your Cardinals, my Cubs. It's looking bleak, buddy. It's looking bleak.
No.
Is there any chance? I mean, I think both teams are under 3% chance to make the playoffs, but I could be like Harry and say at least so you're saying there's a chance, but I'm not holding on to my breath.
Well, it's not looking great, but it's just started, so let's see if either one of them can go on a run. I mean, it just takes a 7-8 game win streak to turn it all around and be back in the thick of things. So it's not looking good, but there's potential there. The matchups are decent. We'll just have to see what happens. But, yeah, it'd be hard to bet on them right now.
These first 2 or 3 weeks for both clubs are pretty important because
absolutely.
If you falter in the next 2 or 3 weeks, you might as well just mail it in the rest of the year.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Brewers, I don't know how they're doing it, but they stay hot. They're getting production. They've got pitching that I didn't see coming this year. They've got a great bullpen. They're a move away, I think, offensively, and I think pitching will be fine. And maybe they pick up some, third or fourth starter at the deadline. But the Brewers are a team that I think could surprise some people even in the playoffs.
Yeah, they're a solid, well-rounded team. They've got everything hitting on all cylinders, and when one's letting the other down, the other one picks it up. So they're a solid ball club, and I always knew they had the pitching. I was curious on how, the rest of the team would work around it, but they've stepped up at every aspect of the game. So they're going to be tough to beat.
What do you look for in the second half of the Brewers? More of the same, or are you going to see maybe coming out of the second half a little hot like they were and then kind of have a little downtrend if they get a gap in the division? Or are you just seeing them putting the pedal to the metal and just running away with this?
I don't know that they'll run away with it. They're not known to do that, but I think they're going to be consistently good. I mean, if they play 500 ball the rest of the way out, it's up to everybody else to catch them. So, they've got the talent to run away with it. Will they? I don't think so, but it's going to still be a hard catch, even if they just play 500 ball.
Out in the West, it's a 3-team race: Giants, Dodgers, Padres. At the end of all said and done, who's on top?
I still think the Dodgers will, they'll click in the second half and put it together. I mean, a lot of it, I don't know how long Bauer's going to be out. I think now he's extended to the 27th of leave, and we don't know where that's going to shake out. And that's definitely a hit to the staff. But I keep saying that I don't see how the Giants are continuing to go the way they're going. And I just don't think the Padres are there yet. I think they'll make a push, but I really think the Dodgers are going to, end up leading that division.
You keep saying that about the Padres, and the more I look at their lineup and their team, it's almost like they're just missing They're missing it, and I'm not sure what it is, but they're missing it. If that makes any sense to our listeners and to you, because it does to me. Of course, it makes sense to me, but it's like they're missing, I don't know, that one small piece that will put them over the top. So that's
I agree. I agree, and I can't really think of what it would be anyway, because they've got a little bit of veteran leadership. They've got the youthful all-stars. They've got good pitching. So I don't know what that is that will flip the switch and really make them a force to be reckoned with. They go through spurts of being amazing, but they just aren't consistent yet.
The one hole I see in the Padres is behind the dish. They've got inconsistency there, even though Caratini's been there. Victor Caratini came over the Yu Darvish trade from the Cubs. He's a great backup and will give you good at-bats and that, but I'm not quite sure he's a everyday starting catcher in Major League Baseball. I think that's the one spot the Padres could be, that could be the it that they're looking for, is to get that top-tier catcher behind the plate.
Yeah, that's a good point. I hadn't thought of that, but yeah, I mean, maybe a little more leadership from that position would help with the bat and handling the pitching staff, which Caratini does a great job with the pitching staff. He's just not really that force at the plate that you want behind the plate.
Right. Moving over to the East, let's talk about it. Mets, man, I'm still waiting for those Mets to do what they do every single season, and they're leading the division. I'm waiting for them to start going down, down, down. They're getting J.D. Davis back this weekend. So he had some pop to that lineup, and they just keep getting great pitching and finding ways to win. You look at a guy like Taijuan Walker, an all-star this year. Taijuan Walker was washed up 2 years ago when he left Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody thought he was going to have a season, but he's found something in New York. You got DeGrom as long as he can stay healthy. Syndergaard's coming back. They've got some good pitching. Are the Mets a team, though, that are going to have to make a move for some offensive production to shore up everything to hold on to this division?
I think so, and I'm still not sure that'll be enough. I think you're gonna see a big push from the Nats in the second half of the season. They're still my team in that division, but obviously anything can happen. I don't think the lead they've got is insurmountable right now, especially if the Nats get Schwarber back, and Soto, in all due respect, is kind of having an off year for him, for his normal stats. He's only got 10 home runs. I can easily see him hitting 15 to 20 in the second half. Schwarber continuing what he does. I'm a big Turner fan, and they've got some solid pitching. So I look for that to be tight at the end, but I think the Nats can pull it off.
I still think the Phils could be a team that could surprise everyone if they continue to get solid pitching, and if they make a move. We saw Real Muto hit a home run during the All-Star game. Maybe he comes back. Harper's had a quiet year And so I look for a big second half from Bryce Harper. Mark my words, Bryce Harper will hit at least 20 homers in the second half.
Wow. It's pretty bold.
That is pretty bold, but I think Harper's going to come back. He was banged up a little bit in the first half. I think he comes back and tries to lead the Phils. I think they're a team that makes a move offensively before the deadline and tries to make that push. The East, in my eyes, will be the toughest division to win in the National League.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And you're right. The Phillies have it, or have the potential to have it, with a couple moves and everything clicking. So we'll see. But I'm still going to stick with the Nats. But I think you're right. It's going to be tight.
Over in the American League, things aren't as tight. Over in the East, you've got the Red Sox leading the division. I think the Rays are not too far back. Blue Jays aren't back. The Yankees are back. Yankees, to me, unless they go make some big moves, aren't there. The Blue Jays, right. I think they're still a full year. George Springer could have been the difference this year, maybe. I think there's some pitching that they need to get still. And the Rays just find a way to win. They just do every year.
Yeah.
So, and then the Central, I think that's pretty open shut case. The Sox are going to win that division. Unless something drastic happens, the Sox are going to win that division.
Right, especially if they start getting pieces back.
Right. And then in the West, the A's are only 4 back, but I think the Astros stay hot, and I don't see any changes much there either. You?
No, I've got the Astros taking that. They're probably going to, if anybody extends their lead considerably in the second half, the Astros would be who I would think could do that.
Agreed on that wholeheartedly. So one quick question for you. I'm going to give you 4 names. I want to tell you tell me who has the most trade value. And they're all Chicago Cubs.
Okay.
Chris Bryant, Anthony Rizzo, Javier Baez, Craig Kimbrell. Who has the most trade value?
Overall trade value. I think for a push, for someone to win a division in the playoffs, I think Kimbrell probably has that because he can be an immediate impact on almost every game. I know the fielding position can be as well, but you're going to have those off nights, those droughts or whatever. Pitching, you can't afford to have droughts, and he's got a good history. So him slightly. I think Rizzo would probably be second, but he's not going anywhere. He's a Cub for the rest of his life. Between Javi and Bryant. I think they're kind of evenly matched. I think they're both valuable in different ways. I think if you're looking for a hitter, you're going Bryant. If you're looking for something more long-term, like you're wanting to extend, it could be either one of them. So that's how I would probably play it. I'd say Kimbrell's the most valuable right now at the trade deadline.
Can't disagree with you. Plus, he's signed for next year, too, for only $16 million for a closer who's got a .57 ERA at the break. That's pretty cheap. So I think you can get a haul for him right now. Hey, we're going to take a quick break, come back, and we're going to close up the show here on Full Count. You're listening to us at dingerbats.com and on 103.5 ESPN Radio.
Today's episode of Full Count is brought to you by Morgan's Place.
Morgan's Place Canine Salon has been offering exclusive one-on-one grooming services in the Champaign area for over 12 years, using all natural products, giving lots of love to your dog. Visit www.morgansplace.me to learn more. Morgan's Place, making dogs beautiful.
Making the call, the bullpen, closing up another show right here at the Clubhouse Lounge. Keith Gibson, Kyle Drone with you. And Kyle, we've recapped the All-Star break and what a fun festivities it was for all baseball fans. I hope if you are a baseball fan, you're listening to us and enjoyed every single minute of that. We talked about some rule changes, and we've also talked about what to look for in the second half. What are your thoughts? Let us know in our Facebook group, Full Count the Podcast. Let us know what you see coming in the second half. We'd like to know. Will the Cubs or Cardinals finish above 500? That's a great question for our fans and listeners. Will either team finish above 500? But once again, I want to wish my wife a happy birthday. Happy birthday, Lori. I love you, and thank you for allowing me to do this show each and every week with Mr. Drone. Mr. Drone, you got anything for me while we wrap this up?
No, man. Thanks for listening, and hope to have you back next week.
We'll be back next week. We're never leaving. They're stuck with us. Keep those Dinger Bats coming in and keep those orders coming to keep Kyle busy. We will see you next Saturday morning at 7 a.m. at dingerbats.com and on 103.5 ESPN Radio. For my co-host Kyle Drone, I am Keith Gibson. Have a great week, everybody. Stay safe and enjoy America's pastime. And play ball!